20 in a row for the Rice Owls women's basketball team. Salute to them, Coach Edmonds and her players and staff. More about them in today's edition of The Takeover, plus video comments from head coach Kelvin Sampson of the Houston Cougars men's team. All that and more on today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break. It's me, KG Kris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. Today's show is recorded as you're watching it on YouTube on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, or you're watching it on Roku via the BS3 Network app. And if you are watching on Roku, thank you very much for downloading the app. But if you have Roku and you have not yet downloaded BS3, please do so. Download BS3 TV so you can watch great content like The Takeover and other fabulous shows as part of the BS3 Network family. Or if you want to, you can go to BS3Network.com or BS3TVLive.com. Today's Houston Roundball Review Takeover is presented by United Sports and Entertainment, as well as powered by JM&E. United Sports and Entertainment is the organization that has put together some of the basketball events featuring the Houston Cougars, the MTEs, the Cougs matchups against Auburn this season in Birmingham, last season at Toyota Center, and previous years, games taking place at Dickies Arena. United Sports and Entertainment, visit the website at www.usport.sent. That's one way to say it, or I'll spell it for you. USPORTSENT.com. United Sports and Entertainment. I touched on it. Coach Lindsay Edmonds and her Rice Owls basketball team won its 20th straight game earlier Wednesday evening, defeating the Temple Owls 77-66 in Philadelphia. Balanced scoring, as the Rice Owls have done throughout their 20-game winning streak. 19 points from Shelby Hayes, 21 points from Dominique Ennis, 12 points from Anaya Alexis. So balanced scoring. Rice is 25-3 overall, 15-0 in the American Conference, won 20 straight altogether, clinched the number one seed in the American Conference women's basketball tournament. But you know what? Rice will still need to win the American Conference Championship to qualify for the NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament. In spite of winning 20 straight games, in spite of being undefeated in American Conference, in spite of having a fabulous record of 25-3, life in a non-Power 4 conference, life is part of a group of five, life in a one-bid league comes down to winning your conference championship to qualify and get the automatic berth in the NCAA tournament. And Rice got a little taste of what could be. It needed a 3-point shot at the buzzer to win a few games ago. So just think about that. Happened in the conference tournament, and that shot doesn't fall. A fabulous season could end in the American Conference without a trip, without a berth in the NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament. But if they do win the conference championship, they will be the one seed. With the changes to the American Conference tournament rules, now only 10 of the 13 teams make it. Rice will receive a double bye into the semifinals. So they only have to win 2 games, not 3, 4, or 5, just 2 games, the semifinal matchup, and then the final game to get the automatic berth. And most of the bracketology I follow on the women's side, Rice's games could be in Fort Worth in the TCU pod, because the TCU Horned Frogs in the Big 12 have taken care of business and presently are the one Big 12 women's basketball team that will host their pod. Top 16 teams in women's basketball are host sites. TCU is the only Big 12 women's team to be among the top 16 and hosting. And that means, as far as geography, closest location for Rice, Fort Worth. So instead of going to Baton Rouge and LSU, Rice could be going to Fort Worth to be part of TCU, assuming, of course, Rice takes care of business and wins the American Conference Championship. Not the regular season title. They've already got that wrapped up. But the American Conference Tournament Championship. Get those 2 more wins. So good luck to Coach Edmonds and the players and the staff and get that done. Also, Rice women's news. Earlier in the week, Rice's Hailey Adams, and notice, I said in their win over Temple, I mentioned Shelby Hayes, Anaya Alexis, Dominique Ennis. I didn't mention Hailey Adams. This is how balanced Rice's team is. Hailey Adams was named the American Conference Player of the Week for her performances last week. Redshirt junior, and I love her game. She stuffs the stat sheet. She gets rebounds, assists, steals, takes charges, whatever is needed for a team to win, she does it. Hailey led the way with a pair of double-doubles last week. First with 13 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block against UCF. She followed that with 11 points, a career-high 19 rebounds, 4 blocks, and an assist in Rice's comeback win at ECU. That's the game where they needed the 3-point buzzer beater, final seconds, about 3 seconds left, from Dominique Ennis to win that game. On the week, Adams averaged 12 points, 16 rebounds, 2.5 blocks, and 2 assists per game, shooting 60% from the floor and 85.7% from the free throw line. So it's a collective effort for the Rice Owls women's team. And, well, let's go and get into it because there's going to be some good news and some bad news regarding other Houston area women's and men's college basketball teams. Here's Rice's schedule, February, March. They got 3 games left in the American Conference regular season. Saturday, home against Tulsa, 1 o'clock start. See that game, ESPN+. Then March 3rd at Charlotte, 5:30 p.m. on ESPN+. And then closing out the regular season, March 7th, home against UTSA for Senior Day. All the festivities and acknowledgments of a very successful senior class for the Rice Owls women's basketball team. I want to jump to it, go back to my alma mater. Men's hoops. Cougars on a 3-game losing streak after losing at Iowa State, home against Arizona, and then at Kansas on Monday, in which the Cougs trailed by as much as 20 points in the second half, where they were down 61-41. They're 11-4 in the Big 12, tied record-wise with 11-4 record with Kansas, Iowa State, and Texas Tech. But since the Cougs lost the 1 matchup against Kansas, they're behind Kansas. They lost the 1 matchup against Iowa State. They're behind Iowa State for the tiebreaker procedures. But fortunately, Iowa State and Texas Tech square off this weekend. So somebody's going to lose that game. That'll be a 5th loss for them. So the Cougs beat Colorado. They'll be in 2nd place. Kansas plays Arizona at Arizona. I think Arizona's going to win that game. So Kansas will have a 5th loss. So, Cougs will be a 3rd place. Because if Texas Tech wins, Iowa State wins, they'll sit out the tiebreaker over Houston. But Texas Tech wins, they split. But the chances are the Cougs will still finish in the top 4 and won't have to play on Wednesday of the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City in March. Top 4 teams don't play till Thursday. All right, now to the Houston Cougars women's basketball team. They're not 11-4. They are 1-16. 1 more game left in the regular season, and I don't see them playing beyond day 1 of the Big 12 women's basketball tournament, unfortunately. Senior Day, this Sunday, March 1st against UCF. UCF only has 2 Big 12 conference wins. So the bottom 2 teams in Big 12 would be squaring off on March 1st. If the Cougs win, they'll have 2 wins. And really, that was the bar I set for Coach Matthew Mitchell in his first year in charge of the Houston Cougars this year was to win 2 Big 12 games. Coach Huey's last year only won 1. Well, right now, Coach Mitchell only won 1 as well. 1-16, 7-21 overall. They're playing tough. They're being competitive for the most part. They just don't have enough talent. That's the bottom line. The game against Arizona on Tuesday, that they led after the third quarter, led the first 3 quarters. And then the fourth quarter was bad. Defense just did not get it done. Ran out of gas and lost by 8. And that handed Arizona their third win in conference play. Prairie View men, 6-9 in the SWAC. They lost at Pine Bluff 84-82 this Thursday, tonight. As you're watching on Thursday, hosting Jackson State. Game is on SWAC TV. Then Saturday, hosting Alcorn State, also on SWAC TV. The game against Jackson State Tigers, 8:30. Game against Alcorn, the Braves, 4:30. And then a close out the regular season Thursday. Let me say this. I got to say this, put myself on the big screen. Rivalry end of the season for the SWAC in the regular season. Prairie View, TSU, and I think other rival matchups will take place in the SWAC on the final day. With rivals on a Thursday rather than a weekend on a Saturday, especially a Saturday. Why, Commissioner McClellan? Why? Why are you having Prairie View and TSU playing on a Thursday to close out the regular season? Why? Please, make that make sense to me, please. But anyway, back to the schedule and the results. Prairie View, they've had some success on the men's side. But on the women's side, Coach Ty Dillard and her Lady Panthers in her first year in charge on the Hill, they're still winless in the SWAC. They're 0-15. Last 3 games of the regular season against Jackson State, Alcorn, and then at TSU on Thursday, March 5th. They might get one of those 3. I don't know where. We'll see. So time will tell. We'll see. The Rice Owls men need some help to make the American Conference postseason tournament. As I said earlier, 10 of the 13 teams qualify for the American Conference tournament. Right now, after the Owls' 75-56 loss Wednesday night to South Florida, Rice is in 10th place, 1.5 games behind North Texas, with 3 games to go. So clearly, they're going to have to win all 3 games to have a chance to be that 10th team. They're at Temple, at North Texas, so they'll need some help from somebody else to beat North Texas and then beat North Texas themselves. 5-10 in the American, 11-17 overall. Year 2 for head coach Rob Lanier. If they don't qualify for the American Conference, for the conference postseason, that's a bad look. That is a bad look. You got to say that. I'm not saying his job's in jeopardy, but 2 years in, you don't make it the tournament of your conference. That's not promising. As I said in the beginning of the show, Rice Owls women's hoops rolling 25-3, 20 straight wins, 15-0 in the American. Still got to get it done in the conference tournament to qualify for the NCAA, to go dancing. Good luck to them. I think they will, though. TSU men, 8-7 in the SWAC. In this SWAC regular season with 3 straight home games. First up, Thursday against Alcorn State. That game looks like it's going to be on TSU's YouTube channel. Then that should be Saturday against Jackson State, 4 o'clock on SWAC TV. And then Thursday, much to my disappointment, against Prairie View. That game hopefully will be picked up by SWAC TV, the doubleheader. But that game should still be on Saturday. That really bothers me. TSU women on a losing streak. Lost 6 in a row to go now to 5-10 in SWAC play. Thursday against Alcorn at 5. Saturday against Jackson State at 2. And then Thursday against Prairie View. 3 straight home games for Coach Vernetsky and her TSU squad. Okay. Got 3 videos I want to share with you from Coach Kelvin Sampson of the Cougars. First one will be some of his post-game comments from Monday's road loss at Kansas. I'm curious your thoughts to what he says, so please share your comments on YouTube in the description, in the comment section as you're watching the video. And then the next two comments, one is kind of maybe interesting to some specific followers of the Cougars. Coach Sampson talks about Houston's low post game or lack thereof. And then the third one, he talks about some injuries for Milos, Uzan, and Emanuel Sharp. But those injuries were not mentioned, disclosed on the Big 12 injury report before the Cougs game against Kansas. Just pointing that out. And I'll share with you a little bit more. I'm not sure what can be done about it, but just something to think about. First up, some of Coach Kelvin Sampson's comments after Houston's 13-point loss at Kansas on Monday.
Just like the start of the game, we felt like we could get CNAC open at a three-point line, and we did. But you know that those scoreboard up there keeps track of points. It don't keep track of open shots, and we had a lot of them. Some nights you don't, but you know, when I saw the schedule come out in September or October, whenever it did, and I saw that we had to go to Ames, Iowa on Big Monday. And then on Saturday, we've got to play Arizona. And then 48 hours later, we've got to go to Fog Allen to play Kansas. I was proud of my guys tonight. You don't go through this gauntlet like we just did. Now, we didn't play very well, and we had an opportunity on Saturday. But I knew this was going to be a hard game for us after that Arizona game back in October. It's going to be a hard game for anybody that's got to play at Iowa State, Arizona, at Kansas, especially the Arizona-Kansas turnaround from a Saturday, Monday. So I told our kids back there, hey, look, I'm proud of you guys. We got down, we were up. We didn't finish the half very good. Peterson made a couple of tough shots. Down 4, come out, took the lead. I can't remember if we took the lead or not. Maybe tied it. I cut to 2, whatever it was. And then we got some good looks and just didn't make any shots. Sharp, Sharp's the one. He guarded his butt off. I think he played 35 minutes on Saturday. Milos played 38. That's why I took them all out with 8 minutes to go. They just had no legs. They were done. But that's the schedule we had to play. But that group that finished the game, Fleming's freshman, CNAC freshman, Mercy might as well say he's a freshman because he didn't get to play last year. Chase, a freshman, and then JoJo. I just like their scrap and like their spirit. We've got 3 games to finish up the Big 12 schedule. We're going to try to finish as good as we can. I think these 3 games, even though we're disappointed we lost them, it's not the end of the world and by any stretch of the imagination. I think we can take these opportunities to help us in March and get better. But I don't know if anybody had to play 3 straight games like this. We're up 10 at Iowa State with under 8 to go, chance to win, didn't win. We got a lead in the second half against Arizona, chance to win. Tonight we just ran out of steam. We just had nothing down the stretch, and that takes nothing away from Bill's kids. But I kind of knew what we were coming in here for. Yeah, I knew Bill's kids were going to be really, really, really excited to play against us tonight. And I wish we could have given a better performance. Disappointed we lost, but I am not disappointed in our effort.
What are your thoughts on what you just heard from Coach Kelvin Sampson after Houston's 13-point loss Monday to the Kansas Jayhawks inside Fog Allen? Cougs trailed by as much as 20. Emanuel Sharp, 1 for 10, 1 for 6 from 3. Milos Uzan took 7 shots, only 2 in the second half. Cougs didn't shoot well. Cougs defense gave up 2 11-0 runs. Didn't play well. Mr. Tugler didn't play well till the end of the game. But that's Monday. Now I'm going to share some comments from Coach Sampson from his Wednesday Zoom call. 2 different clips. The first one is about Houston and the low post offense. Listen to these comments, share your thoughts on what you're hearing, and then the next one is about injuries to Milos, Uzan, and Emanuel Sharp.
Kelvin, a couple of games ago, you mentioned inside maybe the lack of a consistent presence or a guy that can take double teams. Is that just a product of you have it or you don't on the roster, or is there ways that you can position guys or use guys differently that maybe helps alleviate some of the absence there?
Yeah, that's something we're actually working on. Kris is, just because you're 6'10" doesn't mean automatically that you're going to be a low post scorer. And just because you're 6 foot doesn't mean you can't average 10 rebounds a game or be a really good finisher at the rim. A lot of it comes down to your individual strengths and weaknesses. When we recruited Kris, he was never an inside guy. This is more of a short roll guy, could play at the free throw line area. Off short rolls, pick and pops, streaky shooter. But with a streaky shooter, you always got to give him an opportunity to make, because you never know. We've had games this year where Kris has shot it fine. We've had some games where he hasn't shot it fine. But the 2 biggest issues the last 2 games is the 2 best defensive centers, 2 of the best defensive centers in the country, is Kripis and Badunga. So obviously, they're not going to come double if you throw it in the post, because they let those 2 guys play one-on-one. I think if the vote was held right now, probably the defensive player of the year in the Big 12 would be Badunga. He's an outstanding one-on-one defender. They don't bring double teams with him much. I'm not saying they haven't. I haven't watched all their games, but they haven't against us. And that's for 2 reasons. And the same thing with Kripis. He's 7'2" and 260. And, last year we had J1 Roberts, who we could attack at the top of short rolls, and then he could get to his left hand. And I think it took J1 4 years to develop that. And I think if Kris stayed here, I think he'd be really good at that too. But you don't develop that in 5 months. It takes time, as it does anything. That's why some years you're better than others. But I look at all of our players in this program, I think they've all improved. But they're going to improve a lot more next year. And then they would be more better the following year. Last year's team was the team that we took out of the oven. It had a 5th-year senior in LJ, a 6-year senior in J1, a 6-year senior in Malik, a 4th-year senior in JDR. So this team there is no comparison to last year's team and this year's team. Last year's team was ready to win a national championship. This team is a developing team, and I've had a ton of fun coaching this team. Excited about them. the fact that we've got 3 games left and we've got a chance to finish in the top 2 in the conference, chance to have the best seeding we can, whatever that is, and opportunity to play close to home. Those opportunities still exist. Doesn't mean that we're going to reach them, but they still exist, and I'm excited about that.
What do you think about those words from Coach Kelvin Sampson about the low post offense? I have one particular Coug fan, Coug supporter, follower, supporter of the Houston Roundball Review in mind as well. Curious what he thinks about, as he's watched those comments from Coach Sampson about the low post game and Chris Senack, lack thereof. Share your thoughts in the comments below the video. Now, I'm going to do a little tease, but first things first. Big 12 Conference has established injury report for football as well as men's and women's basketball. Obviously, we're talking about basketball right now. Basketball game day reports. Each institution must submit a single game day update no later than 90 minutes before game time. Only the following designation statuses are allowed, and they are available, will dress for the game, and be available to play. Game time decision. Coaches and or medical personnel need to evaluate the student asset, during pregame warm-ups before deciding whether they can participate in the game. Out, not dressing, or available for the game. All right? Y'all see that? Next. Big 12 men's basketball game day update, Houston at Kansas. Posted 6:30 p.m. Central, Monday, February 23rd. Out for Houston, Cordell Jefferson, Bryce Jackson. That's it. I didn't cut out anything else. Okay? Out. Cordell Jefferson, Bryce Jackson. No mention of game time decision. Keep that in mind as we come back from this 90-second break with a word from BS3 Network.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review, takeover of the lunch break, powered by JM&E. Today's edition of the takeover is also presented by United Sports and Entertainment. Visit the website www.usportsent.com. Once again, United Sports and Entertainment, usportsent.com. UnitedSports.com. A reminder or refresher, United Sports and Entertainment is part of the organizers for some of the MTEs involving the Houston Cougars men's basketball team. Some non-conference games, the Cougs, played in Fort Worth at Dickies Arena, as well as the matchup between Houston and Auburn. And it might be also involved in Cougs non-conference game or two for the 2026-27 season. Just saying. All right, before the break, I shared this. Game day update from Monday, 6:30 p.m., 90 minutes before tip-off between the Cougs and Kansas. Players listed for Houston as out, Cordell Jefferson and Bryce Jackson. No game time decision. Nothing of the sort. No other players mentioned. All right? Here's some comments from Coach Kelvin Sampson from Wednesday's Zoom call. Questions from Greg Bailey, ABC 13.
Kelvin, good morning. And your post game at Kansas, you really seemed to like what that last group gave you the last 9-10 minutes, whatever it was. Are you seeing enough from those guys where they might get some more minutes to maybe take some of the load off of your starters? Because you also mentioned the tired legs.
Well, it wasn't just tired legs. Milos was a game time decision. At pregame meal, John said he didn't think Milos could go. And so I think I asked Milos what his decision was after I got to the gym. I went around to the players' locker room, and I saw that he was getting dressed. And I asked him, was he a go? He said yes. And then Emanuel, with his hip, he had 2 bad falls against Arizona. And then he had a really bad fall where I had to go out on the court. I think we stopped play. We had to go out on the court and help him off. So those 2 guys were obviously less than 100%. But that also gave me a chance to get Mercy in there. Chase, JoJo, Kingston, and Chris. I think that's the team that finished the game. So, yeah, this time of year, I don't know if any team's fully healthy. This was obviously a tough stretch. It wasn't just any normal 3 games. I mean, it was top 5 team in the country on the road on Monday, top 3 team in the country on Saturday, and then the team that has already beaten Arizona. They beat Iowa State by 20. They beat somebody else on Monday. So, but we don't really overreact to a lot around here. Never have. Got a game on Saturday. Do the best we can to get our kids healthy. Got a great trainer. And John, that was another big reason why we gave him 2 days off. There's no way Milos or Emanuel could have practiced yesterday anyway. I doubt I'm pretty sure neither one could practice today. So hopefully they'll be able to do something tomorrow with their injuries. And then Friday's the day before, and we'll play Saturday.
What do you think about what you just heard from Coach Kelvin Sampson regarding the injuries to Milos, Uzan, and Emanuel Sharp? You saw the game Saturday between the Cougs and Arizona. You saw Emanuel crash to the floor. He did. No question. He was banged up. Yes. And then he ran into a screen set by, I believe, Floyd Badunga in Monday against Kansas and stayed on the floor, on the court, in pain. So we saw that. So we saw Emanuel banged up Saturday. No acknowledgement of if he was questionable, probable, whatever on the injury report, the game day report, and no mention of Milos. being a game time decision. That's what Coach Sampson said. Now, if you are a person who likes to dabble in gambling, you might feel a different way about what Coach Sampson said Wednesday in the Zoom call if you had placed a wager on Monday's game. That's not me. That's for you if you did that. But anyway, final moments of today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover. Takeover is presented by United Sports and Entertainment, www.usportsent.com. Let me do it one more time so you can see it on the screen. www.usportsent.com. Now, weekly honors. First up with the Big 12, then the American, and then the SWAC. BYU freshman sensation A.J. DeBonsa swept the Big 12 Men's Hoops Weekly Awards. He was named Newcomer of the Week, as well as Player of the Week for his performances last weekend for BYU. He averaged 32 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 5.5 assists in a pair of games against ranked opponents, playing all but 45 seconds of the two contests. Against then number 4 Arizona, DeBonsa scored 35 points, the fifth most by a BYU player against a top 25 opponent since 1996. He came an assist short of a triple-double against then number 6 Iowa State, adding 29 points and 10 rebounds in the 79-69 win. He is the nation's leading scorer at 24.9 points per game and only trails Trae Young, Michael Beasley, Kevin Durant, and Buddy Hield in Big 12 single-season scoring average. While it is his second Player of the Week nod, it marks his third consecutive newcomer selection and his sixth this season. DeBonsa was joined on the Big 12 starting five, which honors strong performances across the league by Arizona's Anthony Del Orso, who lit up Houston for a season-high of 22 points, UCF's Demas Folks, Cincinnati big man Mustafa Thiam, and Colorado's Benkat Dak. Del Orso had a pair of 22-point games in ranked wins against then number 23 BYU and then number 2 Houston, adding 4 rebounds against BYU and 4 steals at Houston. Folks helped the Knights crystallize their at-large hopes with wins against TCU and Utah, averaging 19 points and 5.5 assists, including making the game-winning free throws to complete a 24-point showing in the 73-71 win at Utah. And then UCF Tuesday, this week, won at BYU and scored 97 points. And Demas had a big hand in that as well. Thiam had a career-high 28 points with 8 rebounds as the Bearcats handed then number 8 Kansas an 84-68 loss in Allen Fieldhouse. Dak scored 17 points, his high total for a Big 12 game this season, with 7 rebounds and a pair of blocks in the 83-69 win against Oklahoma State. Colorado at Houston this Saturday, 11 o'clock on ESPN2. The starting five of men's side, Big 12 starting five for last week ending February 23rd. Del Orso, DeBonsa, Folks, Thiam, and Dak Benkat. Women's side. Well, women had some Big 12 women's basketball or something else. TCU's Olivia Miles, player. BYU's Olivia Hamlin, co-freshman, and Kansas's Jalea Davis, co-freshman, took home Big 12 women's basketball weekly honors for the penultimate week of the 2025-26 campaign. Davis's 8 straight league freshman of the week honors are tied for the most consecutive freshman of the week titles by any power conference player all time. BYU's Delaney Gibb And Iowa State's Audie Crooks joined the trio on the Big 12 starting five, which of course highlights strong performances from around the league. Olivia Miles posted her 5th triple-double of the season and 11th of her career in TCU's 80-73 comeback victory against Iowa State. Miles led all players with 26 points and 10 rebounds while padding her stat line with 10 assists. She scored 17 of her points in the fourth quarter, helping the Horned Frogs erase a 13-point deficit with 7:30 remaining to put TCU within a game of clinching a share of the Big 12 regular season title, which they did Wednesday night. Miles is now tied with Baylor's Brittany Griner and K-State's Shaylee Lenning for the most career triple-doubles by a Big 12 player, and is tied with Caitlin Clark for the 3rd most triple-doubles in a season in NCAA history. The Wooden Award late mid-season top 20 watch list member scored a 2,000th career point in the third quarter against the Cyclones, becoming the 9th active D1 player to reach the milestone and one of 4 players in NCAA history to tally at least 2,000 points, 800 rebounds, and 800 assists. Miles had 18 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals to start the week in a road win demolition over Houston. She is the first player since Iowa State's Bridget Carlton in 2019 to win the league's Player of the Week 3 weeks in a row. Olivia Hamlin averaged 13.5 points, 2 boards, 2 steals, and 1 assist during the week as BYU completed a season sweep of rival Utah. Hamlin turned in a crucial 11 points while adding 3 boards in the 86-74 win. Hamlin started her week with 16 points and 3 steals against Cincinnati. This is her 2nd Freshman of the Week honor this season. Delia Davis scored in double figures for the 18th straight game with 16 points and 9 boards in KU's 75-68 road rivalry win over K-State. It marked the Jayhawks' first victory over the Wildcats in Bramlage Coliseum since 2019 and their first sweep of K-State since 2013. Davis is tied for the highest scoring freshman in the country this season with 21.3 points per game, while her 22 points per game in league play ranks 2nd among conference players. Lenny Gibb scored 37 points against Utah while shooting 61.9% from the field and led the league in scoring during the week with 28.5 points per game. Audie Crooks finished the week with 2 20-point games, including a 28-point, 12-rebound effort against Arizona State for her 11th double-double of the season. Reminder, the 2026 Big 12 Women's Basketball Tournament returns to Kansas City's T-Mobile Center from March 4th through 8th, or 9th if BYU reaches the title game, featuring all 16 Big 12 women's basketball programs competing for the conference's post-season title and an automatic berth in the NCAA tournament. So even Coach Mitchell's 1-16, perhaps 1-17, Houston Cougars women's team will be in the Big 12 tournament, women's basketball tournament, taking place in Kansas City in a few days. The Big 12 starting 5 for women, ending February 24th, 23rd. Delaney Gibb, Olivia Hamlin, Audie Crooks, Delia Davis, Olivia Miles. Salute to each of those young ladies. Now for the American honors. For the 16th week of the regular season on the men's side, Chance Westry from UAB, sophomore guard, helped lead the Blazers to wins over Temple and Memphis. Boy, what happened to Memphis this season? Westry averaged 23.5 points, 7 assists, 3.5 rebounds, and 3 steals against Temple on the road The sophomore guard had 24 points and 8 assists, while against the Memphis Tigers, Westview posted 23 points, 6 assists, 5 steals, and 4 rebounds. Stuff that stat sheet. Freshman of the Week, Josiah Parker, again, from Florida Atlantic. Parker repeated as American Conference Freshman of the Week after he averaged 17 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 assists in 2 games for the FAU Isles last week, including a big double-double of 16 points and 13 boards in a win over UTSA on February 18th. Women's side, you know who the player of the week is. Rice's Hailey Adams. Adams helped push the Owls 1 game closer to clinching the top seed in the American Conference Championship, which they did with their win over Temple on Wednesday, averaging 12 points and 16 rebounds in wins over South Florida and East Carolina. She shot 60% from the floor and added 2.5 blocks per game and 2 assists per game. The freshman of the week in the conference, Shiloh Kempson from Tulane. She was a stat stuffer in a pair of wins for Tulane over Memphis, averaging 8.5 assists, 7 points, and 5 rebounds in the wins. She had a career-high 12 points in the second win against Memphis. SWAC weekly honors go to Prairie View's Dante Horn, Bethune-Cookman's Jacoby Hetty, Alabama A&M's Corin Davis, and Mississippi Valley State's Michael James for SWAC Men's Basketball Weekly Awards. Dante Horn, PV Dante's Horn. Prairie View's Dante Horn was named Player of the Week. He impressed during the past week of competition as he led the league in points per game, averaging 31 points per game to go along with 4 rebounds. Impact Player of the Week, Jacoby Hetty, averaged 22.5 points per game during the past week for Bethune-Cookman. He shot 64% from the floor while averaging 4.5 rebounds. Co-newcomers, Michael James contributed 21 points per game for Mississippi Valley State. They beat TSU. This past week, he helped lead Valley to its first conference win of the season. That was over TSU. Let me say that again. Valley's first conference win of the season over Texas Southern. Happened against Texas Southern. And he also contributed 4.7 rebounds per game. Salute to Michael James and Valley. Corin Davis, the additional co-newcomer, averaged 17 points and 3.5 boards this past week for Alabama A&M. He shot 50%, 10 for 20 from the floor, and 92.3%, going 12 for 13 from the foul line in the 2 games. SWAC Women's Hoops Weekly Awards honors go to Texas Southern's Talia Logwood and Arkansas Pine Bluff's Kris Gardner. There you go, kinfolk. Talia Longwood, player and newcomer. Winner, she was impressive, even in TSU losses this past week of competition, as she led the league in points per game, averaging 32.5 points per game to go along with 7.5 rebounds per game, while shooting 64% from 3-point range. And then my kinfolk, Kris Gardner, averaged nearly a double-double in a pair of victories for the Lady Lions during this past week of league competition. She shot 65%, going 17 of 26 from the floor, while averaging 20.5 points per game and 8 rebounds per game. Closing moments of the show, of the Takeover, today's Takeover. United Sports Entertainment is presenting today's show, and they are one of the members in the Houston Roundball Review Business Directory. Contact me for more information. Advertise at thehrr.com. Once again, advertise at thehrr.com. The price is very reasonable if you want to be part of the online business directory. Please email me. Once again, advertise at thehrr.com. Once again, if you are interested in becoming a member in the online business directory, please email me, advertise@thehrr.com. Salute to and thanks very much for supporting the Roundball Review. To the African Center of Well-Being, B Elite Basketball, Byron Riley CPA, Penteleon Law Firm, Star Pizza, of course, United Sports and Entertainment, today's sponsor, VIP Realty, and the Saxenian family. One more time, order some merch. Please order some merch. Order you a Houston Roundball Review mug. Order the Want to Coug merchandise. Order a Houston Roundball Review hoodie, long sleeve shirt, short sleeve shirt, caps. Order this as well. So various ways to support the Houston Roundball Review. It's getting tight. It's getting difficult. It's getting tight. We'll see if we can finish out the year. It's only February. I'm being very serious about that. See if we can finish out this year. But as always, scan the QR code, order you some Houston Roundball Review merch. Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch today's edition of the Takeover of the Lunch Break, presented by United Sports and Entertainment. One more time, visit the website www.usportsent.com. That is usportsent.com. That'll do it for today's show. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the content. Please share your comments, your thoughts, what you saw, the comments from Coach Sampson. Join me, Andy Yanez, Dayon Dunlap, and Houston Cougar Hooper alum Robert Fluff McKeever this Saturday after the Houston, Colorado game for the next edition of Let's Rage Cougs post-game show here on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. That'll do it. You know it. If you are a consistent viewer of the show, follower and supporter of the Roundball Review, if you are new to the show, this is really for you. Since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review. Local name, global perspective. Everyone, please take care. Peace.